Ghana Means Business, brought to you by Goil. Goil, good energy.
Ghana Means Business. Your story, our message.
Excellency, 92, Ghana returned to constitutional rule.
Yeah.
And 92, I believe Professor Dubois stood on the ticket
Yes.
of the NPP.
NPP, yeah.
And in 96, you won more than 50% of the delegates to represent the NPP.
Yeah.
I believe it was about 1,034 out of 2,000 votes. At this point, what was moving you in terms of your political philosophy against the backdrop of all the things that had happened from 72 after the coup through the end of a champion's time through all the way up to 92 and 96? Because I believe 92, the NPP literally boycotted the elections.
Yes, yes.
And then 96 was one of the most pivotal and challenging times with you against former President Rawlings.
Yeah.
What was the mood and what was driving you at this time?
Look, I've told you my life. I was born into a confluence of power. Father, mother, relations were all power managers. And the education I had also exposed me to all these things. Especially when, as a young lawyer, I came to Ghana 62 and saw what was happening. I felt I could do it far better than was happening. So I was waiting to see. And then my mentor, chief mentor, was Buzia. Was always talking of the centrality of the human being, mankind. Talked of universality of man. So whether you were green, black, white, to him, once you were a man, you were entitled to dignity and respect. That's why the democracy, he talked democracy, that's what the whole thing was about. And that was not what I was seeing in our politics after Buzia, all the way through a champon, even when there was that short period when Dr. Liman, whom I had also worked with in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as Deputy Minister, he was an officer. So he was quite nice with me. And then onto the PNDC long period. If you remember, they invited me to be local government secretary, which I did for about 6 months or so. And I introduced the decentralization thing that had been passed into law under Buzia, 71. So when they asked us, I went back, dusted the law and repackaged. So you want to really say you are for the people, then go back to local government. So people would be part of the government from cradle to grave. That's the proper definition of local government. Participation, inclusiveness. So I did all that, and I was marking time till 92 for an opportunity. 92 I challenged Professor Dubois. And there were others too. I came third. I wasn't given the note. But in the long wait, because that was what happened to me after Buzia, instead of going back to law practice or taking some office work, I went into business. You asked about Agyekum Kufuor. BM and his younger brother, another Kufuor, who is still alive, about 91 or so, they took me into business. Timber, Takrady, 1973. So that, then transport. And then I also even tried to do my own brick factory in Afari, where they are building the regional hospital now. The chiefs and people, they gave me over 200 acres of clay-laden land. So I did a small factory there. And these things, activities, gave me opportunity to travel around the country. So as I sit here with you, there's hardly a town or a village in Ghana I haven't traveled through and interacted with people in. I got to know the country very well, know the problems, and I was hoping that day would come And it was with this background that the party eventually gave me chance in 96. I took the candidacy and I challenged Rawlings. At that time, the party was trapped. The party didn't give me even a bicycle to campaign with. I relied heavily on myself to do the travels, do the campaign. At the end of the day, the election, 5 days, the Electoral Commission was not declaring results.
This is 96?
96. And if people would go back and say to GBC, at a point, the Electoral Commission said they needed protection. And I said, protection from who? Because I didn't even have a penknife to threaten anybody.
From who?
Yeah, that's the point. But eventually they declared the results and said Kufuor had got 39-point-something%, which was something. And my party, which had boycotted Parliament 92 because we felt cheated, we felt the verdict had been stolen, and the party wrote the stolen verdict. There were elements who thought we should boycott again.
In 96.
But I said, no, let's hang on, because the Constitution, the Fourth Republic, had been signed by Flight Lieutenant Rawlings himself, saying 2 terms. He done for 1 term. There's another term. Let's wait and see. And so towards 2000, he stood aside and backed late Professor Mills. My party had given me the nod in 98. So we took down, but then we adopted a sweeping strategy. I included everybody who was against NDC, my side.
So you had a coalition of all the opposition parties?
They all backed me, including, if you can imagine, Kwesi Pratt was on, I traveled with him to the north. Kwaku Bako, my pet friend. 2000, with the backing of President Rawlings, Professor Mills got 44-point-something%, with all the advantages of incumbency, against my 48-point-something.
For the first round?
First round. Into the second round, all the other parties rallied around me. And so on the count, I polled something like 57% against Professor. That's how I became president.
Excellency, one of the things that you did immediately after coming in, and I don't know whether it was one of the lessons you learned from Dr. Buzier's regime, was you went HIPIC.
Oh, yeah.
Was looking at things in retrospect, was it the best decision, and why did you take Ghana HIPIC?
Well, it was the best decision in the sense that there wasn't an alternative to HIPIC. HIPIC was there before we came to. The economy had run aground. We were so heavily laden with debt, which we couldn't even service. Even our sister country, Nigeria, had blacklisted us because we couldn't pay for the crude oil they supplied us. So if you would remember, there were long queues at filling stations.
Yes.
TOR wasn't working. And by the term of office, it was only 4 years. So when we came in and we were resolved, I had told the people, we'll usher in the golden age of business and so on. You come in, you go into the Bank of Ghana, empty, find, and 4 years, I didn't want to fall flat on my face as president.
After waiting all these many years?
30 years.
Excellency, tell us some of the fiscal policies, some of the economic policies that you had to quickly implement.
Well, we tried first to talk our way through the resistance from creditors, but everywhere we turned, we were met with a block. And it was, and this thing that I had traveled to Bamako on some conference, which was attended by the then managing director of IMF, Hoyskola, who later became president of Germany.
Yes.
And then Wolfenson, who was president of the World Bank, and Claire Short, who was defeat minister from Britain, the 3 of them. There were other presidents from around West Africa. And I was the new boy on the block. So they cornered me, the 3 of them. They started to prime me to tell them my policies, what I would do. And of course, I rattled, we are pro-business. They looked, The two gentlemen didn't say much. They were listening, and I knew they were sizing me up. But the lady,
Clear short.
clear short. After listening for a while, I said, look, if you tell the truth about your economy, then you may get some help. But if you don't tell the truth,
Yes.
for pride or whatever, then nobody would help you. And so I said, suppose I tell the truth and I still do not get the help. You know what would happen? So I said, I assure you, if you should tell the truth, my government will do whatever to help you out of. It registered with me. And then Hoyt Scholar, the IMF man, butted in and said, look, if you do the right policies, I assure you, whatever I can do to assist you, I would. So I came back to Ghana armed with this. And I confronted my cabinet and economic advisors. Nobody wants to go HIPIC. Give me alternatives. Tell me how we can get the resources to do the things we want to do. They tried that. Nobody wanted HIPIC, but nobody had a viable alternative. That was what, in a way, forced me to tell my finance minister then, at cabinet, go to parliament, tell the parliament that I had decided to take the HIPIC initiative.
Every now and again, GOIL makes good things happen. This time, GOIL has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with GOIL Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. GOIL has that sorted. GOIL, good energy.
Ghana Means Business. Your story, our message.
You had established your government on 3 pillars: positive change, golden age for business, and zero tolerance for corruption.
Yeah.
I want to take them one at a time.
Okay.
Positive change, Excellency. What did we mean by positive change?
Ghana was just drifting.
We had found ourselves lost.
It's on slogans, social democracy, left of centrism, and so forth and so on. And nothing was moving. Rather, we were sort of being drawn deeper and deeper into a rut, into a trench, from which we didn't seem to have a solution. Like 2000, if you were in the country, you would have seen the depreciation of our currency.
Yes, almost
at
45%.
the point, 10,000 cedis for just $1. What could you do with that? Interest rate, you borrowed
45%.
What business would you do to pay off interest and capital and make something to plow back into business? Inflation, 42%.
Runaway inflation.
Unemployment, we had retrenched on Palms card and so forth and so on. Into what? There was no private sector. So it was grinding poverty. And health-wise, people cynically described what was it policy, I don't know. Cash and carry. Cocoa farmers had started cutting off their cocoa trees to plant citrus. Why? Because government was taking about 70% of the export price and giving the farmer just about 35%. So the farmers were disenchanted, disillusioned. They thought they would make more money with. And without cocoa, where would the economy be? Because we were a monocrop economy even till then. The mines, gold mines, Chakwa, for instance, had been sold off for a pittance of about $3 million. Can you imagine? So this was the challenge. That's why we talked the positive change. We came away from there. And then people seem to fear authority. The media, for instance. Now everybody can talk. That time, how many people could talk? And what was the policy? The media, the one that zipped the media from talking.
Criminal libel law.
Criminal libel law had been there for, but it was so stiff then. Oyoko Brobe had tried with his
Radio Eye.
Only for it to be squelched. So when we got a chance, the positive change, we started the change with the repeal of the criminal libel law. That was what allowed all these FM stations, and now Ghana is awash with them. People tend to forget, but that's how we started it. And then the farmers, quickly, we reversed the pay system and said we should give the bigger share of the international price to the farmer. And that was a shot in the arm of the farmer, plus our spraying and the entire cocoa farms free. So from 2001, when the produce was just about 300 and something thousand tons, by 2004-05, Ghana had a hit beyond 700,000 tons.
I remember before you left, we hit 1 million tons.
Well, we didn't hit quite
Almost.
1 million, but we were there. And so 2006, I prophesied. I said, if we continue like this, by 2010, we would hit 1 million tons.
About
Even 700, Ghana hadn't attained ever before from the 1920s. But we did it. And 2010, we got there 1 million tons plus.
Yes.
Even though our opponents who had then come into power wanted to claim it. It was just political talk for them. But the positive change came. When we came in, the banks didn't number beyond 5 or 7. Time we were leaving, 2008, there were almost 30 banks competing among themselves, chasing people to go for credit.
I remember.
So this, and then of course we'd done the national health insurance thing, the initial stages. We'd also come in fulfilling the constitutional provision for free compulsory universal basic education, which is the forerunner of the free SHS now. We did all those things. And then the infrastructure. People forget. Nkrumah Circle, all the way through Kumasi, through Techimai.
Dualization of the roads.
Tema Circle to Sogakope to Aflau. George Bush Highway, Malam to Yamransa to link with the Takrady. Obasanjo. And then we moved the seat of government from the castle to Jubilee House.
Yes.
We didn't name the place after Kufuor or Dankwa or Buzia. But our friends said they would use the place for what? Poultry farm. Huh? How could you do it?
Excellency, zero tolerance for corruption.
Yeah.
Why is corruption, or why has corruption somehow become so part of our DNA?
There's a saying. They say the sweetness of labor is in the reward.
Certainly.
You know that?
Certainly.
When you look at the pay systems of our country, the pay in Ghana, once I had a chance to tell people that we pretend to pay workers. And so they also pretend
to work.
That's the distortion we get. I believe we adopt well thought through pay systems. The average Ghanaian would be some of the most God-fearing, least corruptible humans you may find anywhere. The average citizen. There's always a greedy person. He may be a millionaire, but that type, and thankfully they tend to be in minority. They would grab your little penny you have on you to add to their millions. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking of the average citizen. Let's look critically. One, let's build the economy to create employment. Let's create the wealth. We shouldn't be shy to talk wealth creation. It's not a sin.
So now you are talking about the golden age of business, because earlier you made reference to something that was very poignant. You said that Dr. Buzia believed in the universality of mankind. And therefore, dignity for mankind was very important, which was the birthplace for democracy.
Democracy, yes.
And also, you spoke about private entrepreneurship.
You are getting me so fast.
I'm getting you. So private entrepreneurship, whereby individuals must be able to create wealth, must be able to embark on whatever enterprise that they seek to embark on.
Legitimate, of course.
Legitimately. So, Excellency, when you stated in your third pillar the golden age of business, was it in reference to this particular
It's part of it,
foundation?
because the thing that really kills the economy, above all, was in the misconception of the private sector as like a den of thievery.
Because, Excellency, you agree with me that in the 70s, we had the Sians, we had the Apintins, we had the BMSs, we have the Boachi Matres, we had the UK men.
You have not gone
we had the SK men.
far back enough.
I'm
Look,
sure.
travel around Ghana. Go to our marketplaces, Makola, or Kumasi, or Techima, or Mankasim, or Tamale. Who operates the markets? The traders.
Yes, mostly the
Are they funded by government, by the state?
No banks.
Do we take pains to see how these seemingly small people put together capital to trade, to make profit, to look after themselves, their children, their families?
And build massive houses.
Take Kumasi, where we come from. What's government's input there in Kumasi? No. And you see the size of Kumasi. Or the many transport owners. And it's private. Private. Look at the farms. Cocoa, the lifeblood of Ghana's economy for the past 100 years. What's government's input in it? No. Who acquired the land for the farmer? No. Who hired the laborers to assist the farmer? But see what government takes from the farmer. So naturally, we are capitalistic, if we would define capitalism in its right sense. So we get a chance to govern a country like this, then innate talent, the God-given ability, you acknowledge and just help the people there, set the enlightened framework so you don't overtax them. We are all crying about poverty, unemployment. If I dare risk to put some capital to build a factory, and tomorrow I'll be pulled off, where did you get the money? And that's what you think next time somebody would go and risk it. So let's debate. And let's appreciate. Government is there to set fine frameworks and to encourage the people who can do it to do it.
Every now and again, GOIL makes good things happen. This time, GOIL has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with GOIL Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. GOIL has that sorted. GOIL, good energy.
Ghana means business. Your story, our message.
Excellency, as an elder statesman, can you help us with some of the moral principles that either those who are currently in power or those who aspire to come into power must cultivate to ensure that political power and public service is seen as an opportunity to serve, but not as an opportunity to either enrich themselves or to score political gain or to avenge their enemies or use it as a means to do that which is not prescribed to be?
I told you politics was about power. The nature of power all over the world. All over the world. And Ghana is no exception. Is that people accessing it, getting it. Some would use it for honorable causes to benefit their communities for service. Others would use it to dominate and oppress. To get it, some might lie, some might kill. It's history all over the world. And this is why I would start off, one, upholding the Constitution. Everybody must be under the law. The supreme law is the Constitution. Everybody from ruler to the lowliest place. We must all, as a nation, accept to be under the law. It's the law that defines what the state is. The law, like you take Ghana's Constitution, if you read and read well, you know that sovereignty is not the president, not the member of parliament, not the chief justice, it's the citizen. And this is why the democracy thing comes in, rule of the people. Unfortunately, it tends to be human to also to try to cut corners. You are given the seat to sit on. Before you know, you want to add to the seat and spread. If the next man is not looking, you nudge him off and then you take. This it should be against the law. So if I wouldn't go preaching, I wouldn't go, let's all be moral. Moral is part of it. The religious aspect would come in to reinforce moral teaching, the schools and all. But above all, let's uphold the Constitution and let the Constitution work through the institutions given us.
Excellency, this interview will not be complete without mentioning the John Agyekum Kufuor Foundation.
Okay.
Please, in your own words, please tell us what you intend to give from yourself through this foundation.
Thankfully, Legon has given the foundation a plot of land. We've already started building the mentoring center. We've gone some way, but it's a bit of a huge challenge, not a bit, for us because we find ourselves a bit limited. But we believe that the goodness of the cause will in due course help us to come, so we do it for the youth. Already we have about 100 people we call scholars. They are picked on merit. They are advertised. And now they use the emails and things to do the applications. But the quality of students who have qualified so far, we see them. And the foundation holds them for 3 years, during which they are sent to remote parts of Ghana to live with our people for about 2 or 3 weeks. So the time they come back, if they are normal humans, we believe they will know the responsibility on them as privileged youth to prepare themselves to help free the land. And in due course, others would come from other parts of Africa. We also send them out. Some have been to interact with the Asian youth in China, in Japan, and we are continuing. But this is what the whole thing is about.
Well, folks, we have been honored by a living legend, an elder statesman, a politician, and a president who served his country and served through his conscience and served his people. GhMeansBiz is indeed indebted to you. Excellency, we cannot thank you enough. God bless you, God sustain you, and God keep you as one of the greatest assets that Ghana could ever boast of. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your team.
Thank you, sir.